Welcome, Diecast fans. I'm Tom Spanners-Watson.
And I'm Frank the Gear Gibbs.
And welcome to a Frank special.
Done tootin', mate. It's time the Outlaws put up or shut up. Everybody enjoyed the built versus bought last time, so we thought we'd bring it back, but this time with a special Frank twist.
You've certainly lined up a massive amount of cars. They're completely blocking the road.
I've also got the team blocking all of the side roads so that no one can get in or out except for the races.
So you said this was boy races versus dad races versus Outlaws. What exactly does that mean, Frank?
What that means is we're putting 3 cars on the track at once, all starting in the same lane. We've got the boy races up front, the dad races in behind, and then the Outlaws. And it's up to the Outlaws to get to the front and take the win.
So I know what a boy racer is, but what are you classing as a dad racer?
These are the guys that are often having a midlife crisis, and they're probably a little bit more worried about kilometres per litre than they are about kilometres per hour.
Well, let's hope they're more worried about kilometres per hour tonight.
How the races work is everybody lines up in the same lane, and the Outlaws' job is to get to the front. The last car across the finish line in the first round is eliminated, and the remaining 2 race on. But if the Outlaw makes it to the front in the first race, both cars are eliminated.
All right, but what if the Outlaw car is last?
Well, they're really not going to want to do that because they'll be delisted and no longer raced.
Whoa, that's harsh.
Well, an Outlaw should be able to beat a stock standard car. So first up, we've got a Toyota Celica driven by Chris, the Thunderbird driven by Terry, and first up for the Outlaws is Griffin Cross driving Broken Wings.
Well, this is going to be a big ask for all of the Outlaws. Are you sure you want to be that harsh?
If the Outlaws can't beat a car that's fresh off the showroom floor, they don't deserve to be here.
All right, harsh it is. Chris leading them into Bogan Alley. Terry and Griffin Cross in the background. Here comes Terry up the inside. Gets denied last minute. Griffin Cross tangles up with him. Chris leading out will take the first win. Can Griffin Cross get through? Yes, he does. All 3 drivers make it to the finish line, but Terry will be eliminated.
Terry with a very nice job here trying to get up the inside of Chris, but unfortunately just got denied and then spun around. Griffin Cross mercilessly, worried about giving up his position on the list, pushes through and takes out Terry.
Griffin Cross survives the first round. Can he make it past the Celica this time?
Did you know our American viewers call it a Celica?
You know, I had heard that, but that just sounds wrong to my ears.
As I'm sure our way of saying it sounds to them.
Okay, everything on the line for Griffin Cross. He's pushing hard into the back of Chris. He gets spun around. Chris out with the lead. Chris spinning now. Griffin Cross puts the hammer down, comes up hard behind Chris, plows into the back of the car. Chris spinning around. Griffin Cross charging again, but he is not going to make it.
I really thought Griffin Cross had her here. He started to pull to the inside, but unfortunately clipped the back of Chris's car, spun him around, but some nice car control, got him pointed in the right direction. Then Chris had a little spinny spin heading through the end of the dog leg. Gets a nice drift on there, but Griffin Cross catches right up, unfortunately slams into the back of her car, and then charged hard all the way to the finish line, only just behind, but unfortunately, that's a big red X for him, and that means he's been delisted.
And according to your rules, we say permanent goodbye to him.
Yes, it's very sad. Any hoozles, next we got Mike and Phoenix taking on Xanthopy. So Mike driving an RX-7, Phoenix driving the Gran Torino, and Xanthopy driving Click.
So that's all you've got to say about Griffin Cross? He's been a long time outlaw.
He has, but once you're off the list, basically you're dead to me.
Okay, good to know. Mike leading out, Xanthopy goes high. Looks like she might have stalled out. Mike holding the lead, but here comes the Gran Torino of Phoenix. He is pushing hard up the inside, trying to get around. Mike putting the block on him, shuts him down, and he is going to take the first race.
Crikey, that was an absolute shocker from Xanthopy with everything on the line. But she just goes really high here, came down, slid sideways, and basically just pulled up next to the food truck. That is not good. She's really struggled with this track, so it's probably good that she's now moving on.
But how about that battle up front there?
Oh yeah, that was wicked. I'm really surprised that Phoenix couldn't muscle his way past. But we say goodbye to Xanthopy. She's been delisted and now is deregistered.
Can we just take a moment for Xanthopy? She was there right from the very start. She was one of the original Canyon Outlaws.
And don't get me wrong, back then she was amazing, but she's just lost it in this new track, so it's time for her to move on.
So we say a permanent goodbye to Click, but don't write Xanthopy off. I'm sure she'll be back with another card next season. And it looks like Mike's got this in the bag. A nice drift there through Petrolhead Corner. He comes down to Big Kahuna Corner, keeps it clean, and takes an easy win.
So hang on, have you just renamed those corners?
We talked about it in the briefing.
You know I don't listen to the briefings, I just come in for the donuts.
You're a shocker.
Well done, Mike picks up the overall win. Next up, we've got a Volvo drift wagon driven by Vin. then a Ford pickup driven by Ron, and they're going up against Fractal Panda driving Rust Bucket.
That Ford pickup of Ron's looks pretty quick.
Well, the Drift Wagon's no slouch either, but they are going up against the experienced driver in Fractal Panda, and Rust Bucket's been looking really good recently.
Well, it's been an appalling start for the Outlaws. Let's hope Rust Bucket can turn it around. He's all over the back of Ron's truck. He slips by. He's into second place. He is chasing down Vin hard here. He's coming in very hot into Kahuna Corner, a bit too hot in fact, but he'll hold on for second place. And unfortunately, that means that Ron's been eliminated.
This was a great bit of driving here from Fractal Panda. Look at this. He just absolutely put the pressure onto Ron here, pushes him out of the way, muscles through, and then I really thought he was going to take down the Drift Wagon in front of him here, but unfortunately he was giving it the beans all the way into Kahuna Corner, but he does hold on for second place and he gets another shot at him in the next round.
And Fractal Panda taking a shot at the cameraman there as he slides through on the rail.
It's alright, we've put Danger Dan, the cameraman, down there because he's well experienced in watching out for cars like that.
Fractal Panda survives for round number 2, but can he get past Vin and the Volvo Drift Wagon in front of him?
I think Fractal Panda's got the pace. He just needs to find a clear spot on the track to overtake him, and he's going to have to watch himself into that third corner.
Rust Bucket puts the pace on and gets up the inside. What a superb overtake.
He just has to keep it clean all the way to the finish line now.
That's right, normal Outlaw rules applies. If he rolls, he's out, but he keeps it clean enough and he will take the win. And finally, we have an Outlaw staying on the list.
This was just a superb overtake. He picked his line perfectly, and rather than waiting till later in the track where things get a little bit risky, he gave it the beans to get in front, and that just threw off the rookie Vin in the Drift Wagon. So congratulations, Fractal Panda, you hold on to your spot on the list.
First one to survive. Okay, who's up next?
We've got another Drift Wagon, this time a Maxima, driven by Paul, then the Holden Monaro, driven by Peter B, and they're taking on Hawthorne Sung and Munted.
Now, our American viewers, you would know the Holden Monaro as the Pontiac GTO, but in this part of the world, it's definitely a Holden Monaro.
Go the mighty Holden.
Peter drafting hard against the Maxima. Oh, but he's flipped it over. Munted goes through. Munted with the overtake into Petrolhead Corner, runs down to Big Kahuna Corner, but he gets overtaken again. The Maxima gets through. Can Munted finish? He does.
I'm both bitterly disappointed and not surprised at all that the Holden flipped over. And I put the blame squarely on the Pontiac decals. See, he was doing such a good job here, but he just rides the wall and gets up too high, and then it was all over for him. But what an exceptional drive here from Munted. A textbook overtake up the inside, a nice little drift as he went through Petrolhead Corner. Then as he went into Kahuna Corner here, he just seemed to get a little bit distracted, lost his way, and that just allowed Paul and the Maxima Drift Wagon to slip past him. But it's okay because he does get another shot in the next race.
Well, let's hope he doesn't falter this time because everything is on the line for him.
Well, there's nothing like some major consequences to make the racing a little bit more interesting, mate.
Interesting for you, nerve-wracking for the drivers.
Que sera, quesadilla.
Pretty sure that's not the saying.
Well, you know what I mean. Whatever will be, let's eat.
Hawthorne Sung chasing down the Maxima, and he gets up the inside. Not quite as clean this time. Both drivers getting spun around. Hawthorne Sung gets going. He's slowing down.
Come on, Munted, you can do it. You just have to finish.
Well, if he can't finish, it's going to be a rerun. But he's looking okay, and he is going to take the win and hold his spot on the list as well.
It looks like Paul's pulled over for a Sav and a schooner, but what a drive here from Hawthorne Sung. He picked his line really nicely, but unfortunately just got clipped on that rear end. That sent him spinning, but luckily for him, he managed to keep going.
It was definitely touch and go there for a little while. I thought he was going to come to a complete stop, but congratulations, Hawthorne Sung. Munted stays on the list.
So that's 2 wins to the boy races, 2 wins to the Outlaws.
Next up, we've got Susie Q driving the Honda S2000, Fred in the Ford F1, and finally Boxer driving TKO.
I know I keep referring to them as boy races, but there are obviously a lot of girl races in there as well. It's just too hard to say boy and girl races.
In fact, we'd like to see more girl races out there, so hopefully for the next driver call, we'll actually get some more.
Looks like Susie's doing a sterling job there.
She is definitely handling the track quite well. No, she starts to spin.
Jinx.
Boxer comes through and pushes Fred. Fred flips over. Susie is going to take the win. Can Boxer get through? He does, luckily, otherwise he would have been eliminated.
Absolutely, that's classed as losing. But look at the pressure he put onto Fred there. He just nudged him over and then manages to push him out of the way. And luckily for Boxer, he muscled his way past and made it to the finish line.
So we say goodbye to Fred, and now it's going to be TKO going up against the S2000 of Susie Q.
With everything on the line, Boxer's not going to want to hold back here like he has been. He's kind of stagnated on the list because he can't seem to get higher, and this could be the end of him.
He's going to have his work cut out for him because I think Susie Q has got the pace on him here. Look at this as she steps out to a huge lead. Keeps it clean through the second dog leg this time. into Petrolhead corner, but here goes Boxer. Susie starts to lose it. Boxer pushing past it. Boxer makes it by good old brute force.
Boxer definitely giving her some rough treatment here. Susie started to lose it into Kahuna corner. Boxer saw his opportunity and muscled into it. She tried everything she could to block him out, but unfortunately it looked like he broke his steering rod, then manages to muscle past, and he will take the win and hold on to his spot on the list surprisingly.
I really thought Susie Q had him there, but congratulations, Boxer. TKO stays on the list again.
So out of the first 5 groups, we've had 2 wins to the boy races and 3 wins to the Outlaws, none to the dad races.
So with 2 out of 3 of the Outlaws gone, what's going to happen with the top 5?
Well, the pressure is definitely on, and you're going to want to make sure you catch those races because it is going to be an absolute spectacle if I know those drivers.
And just being at the top of the list doesn't mean you're immune from being eliminated.
Oh, defo, mate. There are some tough competitors coming up, so those top drivers have really got their work cut out for them.
All right, that's enough from us tonight. Leave us a comment with what you thought of this new format, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on part 2.
It's going to be a ripper.
Thanks very much for watching. I'm Tom Spanners Watson. He's Frank the Guru Gibbs. We look forward to seeing you next time.